The Pembroke Historical Society Museum in Pembroke Center is open on a few occasions throughout the year. Recently, the Society held its annual breakfast, and one of the museum's new curators took PCN on a tour of the new and improved exhibits.
We are a group of hardworking volunteers who preserve and maintain the historical sites in Pembroke, one being the museum building that we're in right now, which is made up of two one-room schoolhouses from the mid-1800s, the old Brinefield Schoolhouse and the Great Cedar Swamp Schoolhouse. This is where we house our museum collection, and we have a function room where we're having breakfast this morning and where we have our meetings.
Good morning. Good morning. Plain or blueberry pancakes?
We have an amazing collection of arrowheads and these two grinding stones, which is where the Native Americans would grind their stone to make meal to create their cake, their journey cakes that they would use as they traveled around the area. But in the 1600s, the Barkers came to town. The first Barker was on sort of an expeditionary trip up from Duxbury and discovered the Herring Brook and found a place where the fish were plentiful and it was a good place to settle. And that was the original settlement here in Pembroke. And these two folks here, Abigail and Peleg was the last of the Barkers to own the family homestead. It was one of the oldest homes in America when it was finally torn down in the late 1800s. We here have a collection of artifacts from the Barker home. Interestingly enough, because it was one of the oldest homes, even in its time in the late 1800s, there were souvenir hunters. So a lot of the things that are in the Barker collection, some of them came down through the family, but a lot of them were actually things that were taken off the house, like shingles and door latches, and people kept them in their family for over 100 years, and they ended up here at the museum. The last collection that we're going to feature is something that is quite extensive and quite amazing, and this is our Remembering the Wars cabinet. We have some Revolutionary War artifacts, and we have several Civil War artifacts, including these swords, which are quite amazing.
It does look a lot different now, and that's because of the very, very hard work by our co-curators, Jacqueline and Brett Robinson. They have spent a great deal of time sprucing up, organizing, finding some hidden treasures, a lot of hidden treasures, and so our display is really very, very special. We are not open regularly, unfortunately, because we are volunteers, and so everybody has their own personal life, but we can open up the museum for anybody who wants to come in. We certainly can arrange that. We are open occasionally for some special events, the children's program, which is every May, and that's when the third graders come from the elementary schools here in town, and that's been happening for a very long time, so much so that it's really a very integral part of the third grade curriculum. Our website is PembrokeHistoricalSociety.org, and you can also find us on Facebook.